Hello, hello, everyone, and welcome to the Legal Zone where we tackle injustice. It's been a long time since we've recorded this, maybe over a year. We've been extremely busy. We've been tackling and wrestling injustices, but we're starting today again, and we have a lineup prepared for you. As you all know, my name is Solon Phillips. I'm an attorney in the Washington, D.C. area. We have John Salati. How you doing, John?
Good to see you, Solon. Always great to be here.
John is another skilled attorney who's with the law firm. We have Dr. Chaney on the line, but she's having some technical difficulties right now. We're hoping that she'll be able to join us. So for those who don't know and they're watching for the first time, what we do here is we tackle injustice. But the way we do that is we have a client of ours who comes onto the show and they talk about the injustice that they're going through. Oftentimes, they're right in the middle of a case. We have just filed a complaint, and they are able to communicate what they're going through and why they had to come to us in order to fight for them. Other times, it's people who are not our clients. They come on and they talk about an injustice that they've experienced. And we welcome anyone out there who's going through or who has gone through an injustice and they want to talk about it to come on the show. Once when they talk about the injustice, we have Dr. Chaney, who is part of our team, and she may ask questions. John and I are attorneys, and sometimes we're geared towards more the legal side of things. Whereas Dr. Chaney, she may ask questions that we didn't think of. So she starts off by asking questions. And then John and I will tackle the legal issue, bring out the facts, the law, and educate the listeners as to what's going on and what we expect to happen. So that's the format of the show. So we'll get right into it. Usually we start with a legal area that's going to deal with the case that we're dealing with today. So I'll start with that. Most people, everyone I think, are familiar with statutes or black letter rules, as they're called. A statute is simply a rule or a law that a state has enacted. Speeding limit, drinking limit, the age that you start drinking. These are laws that's just about in every state that's out there. If someone violates one of these rules or breaks one of the laws, they get a ticket, they get a fine. If you're going 65 in a 35 zone, you get a ticket. If you blast your music past 10 p.m., and there's a ordinance or there's a law that says you can't blast music after 8 p.m., you get a ticket. But what happens if you violate one of these laws and someone gets hurt as a result? That is when you have negligence, or what some attorneys refer to as negligence per se. Negligence, PERSE, negligence per se. That's when you violate a statute, and in violating that statute, someone gets hurt. Now, just about every state across this country has statutes that govern pets. So if you're a pet owner, you would want to pay close attention to this show. Not even if you're a pet owner, because you don't have to be a pet owner to be hurt by another person's pet. So every state has laws that govern pets and animals in general. And if you violate one of these rules, laws, then you become, well, you'll get a ticket. In most states in this country, it's illegal to have a lion. So if you have a lion and the state finds out, you could be fined. But if that lion gets out and hurts someone, now you're liable for whatever damages happened to that from the result of the lion attack. So in this particular case, Washington, D.C. has statutes that govern pets, one of which is you have to have a 4-foot leash for your animal. Not 5 foot, not 6 foot. 4 feet is what the law requires. And if something happens and your leash was not 4 feet, then you open yourself up to liability. So that's what we're dealing with today. Miss Renee Huggins is a resident in DC, and she's going to tell us her story of what happened with her, which is very, oh my God. Hearing what she's gone through, it touched both me and John, which is why we accepted her as our client. So, Miss Huggins, the
Yes,
floor, the floor is yours. Who are you? Where are you from?
my name is Renee Huggins. I'm a longtime DC resident. I'm a DC gown maker
Okay.
and a very, very community oriented person.
Okay. What part of DC do you live in?
I've been living in Ward 1 over 50 years. I grew up here. I went to Cadoza. I went to Howard. I went to Banneker. I went to all the surrounding schools, right?
Okay.
So I've been here a long time, right?
You've been here a long time. All
I've
right.
been here
Walk
a
us
long time.
walk us right up into what happened now. What were you doing?
Well, January the 25th, 2025, early in the morning, that was inauguration day. That's when they was bringing Trump in. So I say, well, let me go up here and walk and see my friend. But she lives about 8 blocks up the street, which is 14th and Urban, and the building is called Trinity Towers. Now, I've been going up there a long, long time. So this event caught me off guard, right? So I gets off the elevator with my pooch, which is a black and white male, 14 years old, special breed, Papillon.
Okay, so you had a
So
dog. You had a dog that you took with you to visit your
yes,
friend.
I had a dog. I had my dog with me.
Okay, and what
Unfortunately,
type of dog was it again?
he special breed Papillon.
Papillon.
You don't the kind of rare breed. You don't see too many of them, right? But what they do with them, they was for companions in Europe and France for the royalties, for the rich. So they was
Okay.
good companions. So they kind of hard to breed and they kind of hard to get and they kind of expensive. But
Okay.
what happened with me, how I got this particular dog, my daughter went down to West Virginia to veterinarian camp. So she had to clean all the funnels out, all the type of dogs there. And somehow or another, she came back with this dog. Now,
Okay.
when I seen the dog looked like a little cow, little calf, just 3 months old. I had him for a very, very long time. And the more I kept the dog, the better I liked the dog. So
Okay.
that's what happened. And I really didn't know the type of breed I had until my daughter told me. She said, this is a Papillon. You're going to take this dog.
Okay. All
So
right. So
that's
you,
how
you
that happened.
so you had the dog and you're visiting your friend and
I'm visiting my friend. She lives on the ninth floor. I comes down the elevator. It was cold as hell that day, but thank God I had on this type of lamb insulated coat, and I had these big, big rubbery boots, which really saved my life. So the elevator door opened. So I'm holding my pooch in my hand on the left side. When the door opened, the young guy came through the lobby of the building with 3 pits.
three
They was
pits,
on lease. They was on a lease. That's what got me. They was on a lease. But what happened was when they seen my pooch in my hand, they just launched. And it was no type of pullback. He couldn't handle them at that time. So it was a big fight. It was a big fight.
So
So
so let's get this clear. It was three pit bulldogs.
yes,
And were they big, small puppies? What size were they?
they
Do you
wasn't no
remember?
puppies. They wasn't no puppies. They was low set, but they was real bully like, right? The physique, you can tell they wanted to attack. And they got very aggressive. But one thing about me, I'm a dog lover, so it really didn't really bother me. But what bothered me when they got my dog and my dog went down, I'm on the floor, right? Hysterical, but at the same time, I'm thinking about my life now because I knew I lost my dog. But the guy, he had no control at all. I thought he could pull him back. I thought he was like a rough type of guy because that's how they want to give you this image. But it was a damn shame. He had no control over the dog. I gave him the benefit of the doubt. So I just started kicking, hollering.
So what's going on with the dogs, the three pit bulls?
The
What are they
dogs are
doing?
still trying to fight me. They didn't let up. And
Did,
what
did they
happened?
did they did they get a hold of your dog?
My dog didn't survive that event. My dog was dead on the scene, Mr. P. So let's move on because my life is still in jeopardy. Now, what happened was if I would have panicked, I would have lost my life. So I'm looking at the environment and what really got me, which I knew I had to fight because the security guards, nobody helped me.
Okay,
They
so
was
that's
on
that's
post
an that's an important part. Where did this happen?
in the lobby in front of the security guard desk,
In the lobby of what or where?
the building of Trinity Towers.
Okay, so this is an apartment complex.
It's an apartment complex. I make it all the way down from the ninth floor. And when that door opened, it was there for, it reminded me, okay, now my husband is a boxer. And he always told me everything is mental. And that time I put it in effect. I knew my body was going to go through a lot of traumatized, but after the fact, right? 2 heart attacks, hip replacement surgery. But at that time, I had to save my life. So that's the only thing I was thinking about. And then I got very angry because the security guards, it was about 3 or 4 men over there. Okay. I would never forget that scene. They was more scared than me, but that was their damn job. Okay. But they didn't help me.
They didn't help you at all.
Hell no.
Mm.
So guess what? I really had to fight because I knew wasn't nobody going to rescue me or help me. So my husband mind came into me. He said, well, when you in a bad fight like that, you just think mentally. Don't think about your body because your body might get injured anyway, which I thought just to get the hell out of there, right?
Right.
But at that time, I still had to fight. I couldn't get past them. I couldn't it's a very small, compact area in that space. The
So how
door,
long did all of this last, do you think?
maybe about 15, 20 minutes.
Oof.
Maybe at the least, maybe 15 minutes because I was hysterical. I was mad, didn't nobody help me. I was cussing. I was calling them all kind of names. Shoot the gun, throw something, do something, God damn it. Nobody moved. Everybody was froze in fear, which I understood, but I couldn't be fearful because if I was, I would have lost my life. Because those type of dogs are just devilly vicious.
They are.
And and then I got to really thinking. So we got all the lease and everything. So I'm fighting with this white boy and his dog. I don't care. I just want to get out there in one piece because I knew I'd lose my dog. So I was really angry. I said, "Oh, I'm gonna just fight this battle out." Right? What
So how
happened
so
was
how did it end?
I'm going to tell you now. I got all the Lisa and his dogs all tied up, and they bit his whole finger. They bit about 3 fingers, so they had to call an ambulance for him. So by
Who?
that time, he was mad with the dogs, and they ran him in the other room, which I didn't give a damn. At that point, my dog laying on the ground, bleeding half to death. I'm on the floor trying to stop the bleeding. And this old lady, she came. I said, call the goddamn animal control. Call the police. Call. By the time the police came, the animal control truck came. He came and got my dog. I had a, a winter scarf. I tied my dog in the winter scarf. I put him in the back of the truck. I ran home, came down 14th Street, still in shock, but I got my life.
Mm.
My husband said, what the hell happened to you? I said, I've been in the baddest fight of my life. He said,
Mm.
where's our damn dog? Ain't no dog.
Mm.
He fainted. He like, are you lying to me or are you playing games? I said, AJ's not in the hole. I didn't hide AJ. AJ was in a bad fight and AJ lost his life, which he was still breathing on the scene, but he didn't make it. So by the time the animal control,
That's the dog's name, AJ, right?
oh yeah, that's my baby. But he fought him. He fought him. But it was too many of them. He was by himself. He was no more than 14 pounds, but he didn't let up. He was still breathing in front of them dogs on the ground in the lobby. Everybody is froze. I never knew fear would take that. I knew a lot of people were scared of pit bulls. I understand that. But when you in a fight with them, you better give it all you got or your ass getting out of here. You gonna go in a bag or you gonna walk on your broken feet? I walk on my broken feet.
So the police came
I
and
never seen them. Let me tell you, honey, I didn't have time to wait on them. Okay? When they came and got my dog, I had to get back to the house. I called my neighbor. We went to the Friendship Hospital, Animal Hospital on Wisconsin Avenue. Now, my girlfriend is a veterinarian. I let her talk to the doctor when I got to the hospital. When I seen my poor little dog, he looked like a furry little, he was just shredded. You know,
mm,
it's nowhere else to take. And I asked my girlfriend, I say, we got the money, I can get the money. Do you think it's worth it for me to patch my dog up and take my dog back home, or just come up here and just let me keep my dog here? Once the doctor came in and talked to my girlfriend, they said it would just been waste of money. He was an old dog anyway. He was small and they beat his ass too bad. But they didn't beat me too bad, but they wanted to kill me. But I wasn't having it. Okay. And that young boy, all them damn people think all them people was all up in there in the lobby with me, frozen to death like a damn statue. I couldn't get nothing out of them. The lady that came through the damn door, she said, "Oh my God, let me call the police. Fuck the police. Call the animal control. My dog is bleeding to death. I've been attacked." Okay. I wait. I sat right there on that cold ass floor and waited till the animal control came and got my baby. I don't care. It was a lot of confusion going on. It was a lot of cursing going on. I blocked them people out because they didn't help me. When I seen that truck pulled up, I ran out there. I picked my dog up. I ran out there and put my dog in the truck.
so how did everything end? After that, did you ever go to the hospital?
Well, let me tell you about trauma. It happened after the fact. What I've been through, the mental state was messed up. My body was worse than my mental state. Because what happened was some people take trauma different. Sometimes it happened after the fact, after
Hmm.
attack. Mine's happened. I was so stressed and scared and crying. I had to run back and forth to the hospital. My friends say, "No, you got to put him down." I had to find a place to send him to a cemetery. I got the box, the ashes, which was
Hmm.
$800. He went from New York to New Jersey. New Jersey picked him up. The cemetery. Then I thought about it. I said, I don't want my dog there at the cemetery. I want my dog with me. Burn the ashes, burn AJ up, send me the owner, the unit where the ashes is, and here it is right here. Can you see it? This is AJ.
Yes.
Can you see
Oh,
AJ? That's the box. This is the certificate. Can you see that?
yes,
Of
we
the
can see
cremation.
that. Yes, we
Okay,
can
I'm
see
gonna go
that.
back and sit down. But let me
Okay.
tell you something. That was the worst fight of my life. I wouldn't wish it on my enemies. Because guess what? What really got me? Just because you out in the street and you walking and you see people with dogs, that don't mean you're gonna get help if you get attacked. You might die.
So you was upset about the people who just stood around not helping.
Ain't nobody helped me. I never knew fear ran like that. And I don't know if they had guns, but I'm saying, you got a gun? Shoot the damn gun. You got a chair? Go, do something. Nobody moved. And
Wow.
this is still in my mind. They remind me of statues, like a warfare.
Yeah.
You know, some people gonna put in and some people ain't. You know, but I
So
wasn't
when
gonna lose
when
my
did you
war.
when did you decide that you were going to seek justice and sue these people?
When my husband seen me, he
Mm.
said, "Oh hell no! You need to find a lawyer. I don't give a damn what you find. You need to find somebody that's gonna work on this case and not gonna be afraid and get that damn video."
Mm. Did you file something yourself first?
I did it my first because he said, "No, I'm stressed out for you. I feel sorry for you. If you would have died, I would have went up there and seen you in a body bag." He said that would have killed me. He said I probably would have turned into a murderer. So it went real far. I said, "Oh no, 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 no. I ain't gonna lose you too. I almost lost myself. Let me go down here. You hold tight. And you stay in the house and watch out. You hold tight. Let me start the legal paperwork."
Mm.
I went by myself. But guess what?
Mm.
2 months after, I had a heart attack,
Mm.
had a hip replacement surgery. I was getting stress pains, but it really didn't come out. I could still handle the pain. because I was working on the hip replacement surgery. I was working on my mental counsel. It
Now,
wasn't
when
easy.
you told us this story, and John and I listened to it, and we were very moved. We shared your anger with you about the injustice, and so we came in and we took over. And there were many people who were at fault in this case. Obviously, the young man who had the dogs, but the apartment complex had a responsibility. They did have security there, and they had a responsibility to make sure anything like this wouldn't happen, and they didn't do that. There were certain statutes and violations that they did not follow. So we went into the lawsuit based on that negligence and negligence per se. But the good thing is they fought and we were able to settle this case for you, right, Ms. Higgins? Ms. Huggins, I'm sorry.
Yeah, Miss Huggins, not Higgins. Everybody wanted
Okay.
to put that
Yeah.
out there.
Yes.
Um, but the struggle, it still goes on. It
Yeah.
still goes on because it's not over, and money is not gonna solve my damn problem.
Yeah.
I could have been really out of here. When you think about stuff like that, life and death,
Mm,
money can't do nothing about it. But
yeah.
that's you have to go through the procedures. I'd
Right.
rather go through the settlement than the litigation.
Right.
It's
Right.
very, very stressful, even when you close the damn case,
Yeah.
because you're still thinking about, damn, how did the hell did that happen? How did she come out of it? I ask myself every day, how did I do this? But I still say it was my husband by being a boxing and teaching me how to fight. He said, you can't really fight, so you got to use your little mind because I'm a small woman. So
Hmm.
I had to really think. We don't know what critical thinking is until we really have to do it.
Right. Right.
You
Dr.
know,
Chaney, Dr. Chaney, are you with us yet? Can you hear us?
And I hope they hearing it because it's a story that it would never die.
All right. So, John, what do you think about this?
Well, I mean, yeah, we've been on this over a year. I mean, talk about an injustice. Somebody just living their simple little life, doing what she needs to do, and she literally walks out of an elevator and gets slammed to the ground by a pack of dogs. It's like, whoa, this is what it's all about.
Like a bad movie.
Well, yeah.
Oh, I got this strip, and I used to live in California, but Hollywood ain't got nothing on us. And I'm gonna do that fashion show, and I might write a book about surviving fear because that was the case. The case wasn't that they was there. The case was they didn't do their job. They didn't help.
Right.
That was the case. If everybody would have helped me, Mr. P, guess what? I would have just came on home to my a loving husband, set AJ down, and would have went on with my program. But it
But
didn't happen like that.
didn't happen. People dropped the ball. So, John, you were saying?
Well, but what really stands out here is here's somebody who stood up for herself.
Mm.
You know, the injustice is happening between the pet owner, the guy who owns the pit bulls and not being able to control them and do what he's supposed to do with them, how the apartment complex handled this, the building and the security people, they're all just, but here's somebody who's saying, no, I'm not just going to roll with this. I'm going to stand up for myself. And how can I do it? Well, I can go to the law and at least get a certain amount of, I don't want to, satisfaction isn't really the right word, but at
Right.
least I can say, I stood this day and I stood for my friend, AJ. AJ didn't get lost in all this. AJ had a moment at least to say, okay, somebody stood up for me when I was torn apart, and Ms. Huggins gets the credit for that. And then she came to us to say, well, all right, how do we do this in the way that
Right.
our society allows? Because I mean, I guess we could have handled this like your husband wanted to handle this. How shall we say,
Oh yeah.
old school, old
Old
school,
school. He now wait a minute, Mr. John. He's much older than me. My husband's 75 years old, so you know what I'm dealing with.
Mm. Yeah.
old
Very
school.
lot of wisdom, and I'm his baby. So he kept pushing me, and I did not want him to go to the court because It was just too emotional for him. You would think the woman would be more emotional than the man, but under this circumstances, he was more emotional than I was because if I would have got emotional, I would have died. How about that? I
Yeah,
can laugh at
and
that.
then the defendants would have been facing a much bigger
It would have been murder.
liability. Yeah, it would have
But
been.
look, that's why I fought. That's why I fought for my life. I said, this can get real ugly. I ain't going out like this. But I never knew I had all that fight in me. You don't know
You'd be
until you
surprised at what you can
really,
do
the
when your back
critical
is against the
thinking is
wall.
something else. My mind, and I just began to settle the memory of the
Now,
event.
now, DC is not one of the jurisdictions that outlaw pit bulls. There are certain jurisdictions in the United States where it's illegal to have a pit bull. DC is not one of them. But there was still negligence claims. And the guy who owned these dogs, I don't know if we should put his name on blast.
Don't do it.
You don't want me to do it?
Don't do it
All
because
right.
I'm still watching my back. Don't put them out there in the world because I got a
Okay.
lot of people still watching my back, and I'm gonna
Okay.
continue to watch my back. So let's
Okay.
use a little discretion. I know his name. You know his name. The whole world don't know his name.
Okay.
Let
So we
that
won't.
go. We got what we want. Made justice. Let him go in the win.
All right. So we won't say his name, but he had a responsibility. Maybe he shouldn't even have had three dogs like that if he couldn't control them.
Well, let me tell you how a dumb ass young. Oh Lord, I forgot I'm on TV. How a young youth person gonna have all these dogs early in the morning on inauguration day? It's 20 below degrees, cold as hell. He coming through a building which he don't have no concept of what he's walking.
Mm,
He don't know the deadly impact, which he did find out because he thought I was something to play with. If you got these type of dogs, be aware. They don't care. They can bite somebody. They can hurt somebody. Even if you think you can trust that type of dog, don't trust them because they very vicious. It's in their blood. It's their breed. They can't help it. So the
mm.
owner have to be more aware. And it still wouldn't hurt if he had a muzzle on them. It would never happen. I was
Yeah.
there. I seen it. He was incompetent to handle this.
So what you're saying, I think, is very important for the public to hear. If you have a dog that has a proclivity or has any sort of tendency to bite, make sure you put a muzzle on it and make sure that your leash length corresponds with whatever the
And
law
another
is.
thing that would have avoided it. When he seen me getting out the elevator, when I seen him walk in, it was too late. We was all the way up on the door. I was maybe about not even a foot from him. Because it's a small space with that door and that elevator. So I walked right into that. I walked right into there, and I'm like, oh my God. I thought I was just gonna walk by the youngin with the devils, three dogs, and get the hell out the building. But it didn't happen like that. I never made it to the door.
So, and it's also important for people to realize that the guy with the dogs was not only liable, but so were the people surrounding and the owner of the apartment building. People who,
No disrespect, Mr. P. I think he worse.
which
Want me
one?
to tell you why? I don't know. All of them bad if you ask me. I ain't never seen them. Don't want to see them. I'm just talking about the character from what I see, the way they manage their building.
Hmm.
All you have to do is look around. I've been going up there over 20 years. It's unreal. I ain't never seen him. Don't want to see him. I tell you what, he's not a good management. Those people, the old people, are scared to come out the damn door. They got kids running up in there. You got women pregnant with babies. Are you kidding me?
Mm.
A lot of illegal activities going on, which I know, which is none of my damn business. But guess what? And then he gonna say he don't have no control of the people that comes in this building. What about the people staying in there and living in there?
Yeah. Dr. Chaney, are you with us now? I saw your audio connect.
I hope you recording this.
Oh, we are.
Yeah. All right. So we're about to wrap it up now.
But
Did
this is
you get what you need,
litigation.
Mr. P?
We got everything that we needed. And we're going to just do some legal talk right now, John and I, and if Dr. Chaney comes on. So go ahead, John.
Well, I mean, Ms. Huggins has set us all up for your opening of where you're talking about negligence per se, right? There are all these things under DC law that how one needs to conduct oneself or one's pets.
Right.
These folks didn't do. And that set up the situation where now we can go and say, hey, you have violated her rights. You have been negligent per se because you didn't follow this statute, you didn't follow that statute. And then, of course, everything related to how the security people were at, right?
Oh my God, they were.
You're employees of this building management company. And it's like, well, are you trained? Are you prepared for this? Or, you just put on the fancy clothes, but you don't know what you're doing. So that's where we could step in and say, hey, there are ways that this is how we create a reasonably civilized society by saying this is how we all need to get work with one another. And when we don't, there are consequences. And
Right. And for you all who watch the show, you would remember that the definition of negligence is a breach of a duty owed that proximately or is the cause of damage. The statute creates the duty. Don't speed. You have a duty to drive at a certain speed limit. If you breach that duty, the statute is violated. But if you breach that duty and cause injury to someone else, now you have a negligence claim. If there's statutes that control your behavior with dogs and you breach that and that causes injury to someone else, now it's ballooned into a negligence claim. So that's what we had with Miss Huggins' case. We filed it, we settled, and even though it couldn't bring her dog back, even though it's going to never erase those traumatic scenes of being attacked by three of them,
Oh
just
yeah, because
just
I had to be a badass Mr. P to get through that. You know any other
I
cases like that?
no, we've never had one with three pit
Well, I
bulls.
think I should get documented. I think that case should get documented and help the
Yeah.
other lawyers that don't really know what they're doing. But I salute you. I didn't know what I was getting, but I think I made the right choice because I had talked to over 20 lawyers. How about
Mm,
that?
mm,
So it's been a learning experience. It's been a life-changing experience. And I still don't trust pit bulls. Even people got them. You got to be aware of what they damage they can do and what they can cause, right?
yes.
When they coming in the building, they was very calm until they seen me get out that damn elevator. They changed like a devil.
Mm,
And it's quick. It's not slow. It's so quick. It's like a snap of your finger.
yeah.
And they sneaky.
Mm,
It's a sneaky breed. Okay, it's a
yeah.
sneaky breed. And I remember when I was in LA, I used to see my neighbors used to bet on them fighting. So I
Mm,
just seen the back end of it too, right? But
mm-hmm.
look, it's not for to be in a family to me or around old people or little kids. You just don't know what they can do a lot of damage. Okay.
Yeah.
And by the time the
Yeah.
owner get them, it's too late. And once they get in your skin, they don't let go.
Right. Now we're not advocating against pit bulls. I don't want people in the
I'm
comment
not
section
advocating a
saying
pit bull. What I'm
we're
saying, if you got one, be aware of the
be
damage
aware.
they can do and be aware of your surroundings when you walk them.
Yep.
And
Well,
especially when you coming in small places.
hmm.
right.
They'll just jump on anybody, okay? And you can't get away from them. What you gonna
Right.
do?
Right.
Okay, one more question. I'm gonna let you go. I still want my puppy,
We'll talk about that with the other side as part of the settlement.
and the breed matters.
The breed definitely matters.
When
So
can I check tomorrow?
we'll talk on that tomorrow. Yes.
Call you in the morning.
Yes, you
I
can do
don't
that.
want to talk online. I'll call you in the morning about that. You know what I'm talking about.
I'll know. Yes, we know.
I still gonna do my fashion show, and the ironic part of this, it set me back like a whole year and a half because I was working on my collection.
All righty. We thank you so much for coming on and telling the world your story. We're glad that it ended with some justice for you. And yes, we'll keep the audience updated. But John and we're going to still try to get Dr. Chaney on. Thank you so
Okay.
much. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you. I'll call you
Thank you,
tomorrow.
Miss Huggins.
Alrighty.
Bye, bye, Mr. John. You in the background helping Mr. P, right?
Yes, he
Always,
is.
Yeah,
always
you be
helping
in the
Mr.
you
P.
stay in the back. You might have to come out in the front. I don't know.
No, no, we know who the front man
To
is.
protect my lawyer. You know what I'm talking about.
I
Yeah,
got his back.
I need him to protect me sometimes too.
I know that's right, Mr. Phillip. You know I know what's going down and up.
I know you
You
do.
know I've been out there in the streets. You know I know. So can't
I,
nobody fool me.
I know that's right. Thank you
But
so much again for
thank
coming
God
on. Yes. All
we
right,
don't have too
we'll
many
talk.
survivors with these type of cases. And I want you to document it.
We will. Thank you so much for coming on.
Take care, Mr. Phillip. Watch your back.
I will.
Have a
Never
Thanks.
great
forget.
day.
Right. Bye bye. All righty. So let me see if we can get Dr. Chaney back in here. So, Mr. Salati, what do you think about that?
Oh, well, I think the case introduces for the audience the array of things that you in particular were able to take the lead with. Yeah, we filed a lawsuit, right? But as came through, we didn't end up in court. There are ways to get some pieces of justice that you don't necessarily have to end up in court. And I think that would be great if you want to talk about that side of how then we handled the case.
Yeah.
How you went, yeah, we did this part, but then we went in this direction, and then why that was important for her and the way the whole case played out.
Right. So most of our clients, they don't want to go to court. They want justice. They want justice in the form of something. And court does not necessarily, when we say court, for those who don't know, we mean actually landing yourself in a courtroom, trying to persuade a judge or a jury to give you justice. That's the end result. But long before that, you can get justice. You can speak to the other side who's hurt you, and you can make them an offer that they just can't refuse. And usually, in order to do that, you have to have the law and the facts on your side. You have to present a compelling enough story to where the defense is saying, we don't really want to have to go to court on this. Let's see if we could offer something to this person in order to make them whole. And that was the case with Ms. Huggins. We drafted a very descriptive story of what happened with her. Um, and they tried to fight it. They tried to fight it through motions. But when those motions, the motion to dismiss was denied, then the channels were open for us to say, do you want to talk? And they made an offer, and I presented it to Ms. Huggins, and Ms. Huggins said, that's good enough. And now we settled. So she didn't want to have to go to court. As she said, court is stressful, litigation is stressful. So our job was to try to move as quickly as possible
Mhm.
to end this whole litigation process for her. And we were able to do that. And I feel good for her. She's, as you can see, she's very animated. And
Thank God.
yeah, yeah, I think that motivated us in our writing.
And and
Um,
I think it's important to point out, Solon, we had this case less than at most a year, maybe less.
yeah.
Talk to the people about if she had said, no, no, I want to show up in front of a jury. What would that process have been like in terms of the time, costs, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, that would have cost her. And see, it's always a gamble, and people need to realize the gamble when you go in litigation, because even though you can have the facts on your side and the law on your side, you never know what another human being is going to do. And we had this conversation, and I'm working on a book that's going to talk about this, so I won't go into it too much now. We'll need to dedicate a whole show on that. But when you step into a courtroom and you have the litigation, first you have to go through discovery, which is you're trying to get documents, you're trying to get answers to questions. You have this whole long process. Then most cases has mandatory mediation, where you have to sit down and try to mediate. By the time you get to a trial, you're at least 18 months in.
Mhm.
2 years. It's just,
If you're lucky.
yeah, motions for summary judgment that you have to get through. All that time you're waiting. All that time you're paying legal fees. And then when you get before the judge or the jury, there's no guarantee that the judge or jury is going to rule in your favor. Even though they should, there's no guarantee that they will. So you could find yourself at the end of the litigation, $200,000 knee deep in legal fees, and then you still not get anything in return. Or maybe you win. Maybe you go through the whole trial and the judge or the jury awards you 100, 200,000. But that's the same amount for your legal fees. So you really walk away with nothing. So if you can end it sooner than later, your attorney should know beforehand, we're going to try to settle this.
Well, and I think playing off of what you're saying here, as you saw with Ms. Huggins, let's use the term, post-traumatic stress thing. The longer the litigation drags out, even though now we've settled this for her and she's still in that, right? She still has the
Right.
PTSD. But if we were still in the middle of the litigation and from her perspective, the victim, whatever, it's going on, but nothing, there's nothing, there's nothing. Why? Because yeah, it takes a long time to get there. So you are living through this. There's no maybe endpoint's too strong a term, but the trauma is always there daily because it's still fresh. At least
Right.
now she's gotten some level of
Closure.
closure or
Yeah.
some level of satisfaction so that now her healing grieving process can move into a different phase. If this were still in litigation, she's still kind of stuck in this limbo.
Oh yeah.
She's
Yeah.
still
And she would call every other day. What's going on now? What's happening now? I understood the the anticipation and the anxiety she was going through. But now there's no need to call anymore. It's over. So as you said, she can start healing now. And as usual, these shows that we do when clients come on, that's part of the healing process. And we know opposing counsels don't like it. We've had the instances where I'm sitting in court and I see myself on the TV because the opposing counsel wanted to show the judge our show as though that would help them out somehow in the trial. But this show is mainly for the individual who had to deal with the injustice because it relieves them. It gives them a microphone to speak whatever trauma they went through. And that helps. And anything that we can do to help our clients is what we will do.
people need to be heard. And
Yes.
therein lies some of the difficulty with the legal system. I mean, it's not what you can do to change it, but for the average person like a Renee Huggins, when does she get to speak? At best, she got to speak mainly through you, which gave her at least a voice. That gave her something by having good representation. But there's always that feeling like, does anybody hear me? Am I seen? Is my pain recognized?
Right.
And sometimes that's why people want to go to court. They don't even care about the money. They want to have, see me, see what
Right.
happened to me. And we are trying to give them an avenue to get that without dragging it out or costing them more than such a thing already can. And
Right.
that's the whole point of having a lawyer that can really be there and as we talk about, tell their story.
Right.
And
Right.
we give them the complaint so they see this is the story.
Right. Right.
Wow, you told my story so well.
Right. Right.
And what happens when you tell the best story?
Whoever tells the best story wins.
It
So
is.
everyone, we're back now. We have a lineup of we have some new clients. We have some follow-up updates on clients that we've had. and it's just going to be exciting. These next couple of weeks will be exciting. Glad to be back. Glad to have you back, John.
Oh, yes.
And maybe we can get Dr. Chaney on for the next one.
There it is.
All righty, signing off.
Take care.
Take care, my man.
Thanks for watching our video. For experienced legal services in Washington, D.C., Alabama, and Washington State, visit our website at remuslaw.com or call us at 1-833-329-1799.